Donald Trump's former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, reportedly has flipped again. This is Keeping It Real with Dean, and I'm going to briefly comment on this story. Now, I've deliberately chosen a more conservative source for this story because it's being reported on a variety of news outlets across the board, but even a more pro-Trump source like the Washington Examiner, which is what this story is portraying this story as Michael Cohen flipping again. Michael Cohen was an attorney who worked for years for Donald Trump during his time as a businessman and real estate developer, and then I believe the early part of his political career running for president in 2015 and 2016, and maybe early in the presidency. At one point, there'd been a falling out between the two, and that's very common with people that have the kind of personality type that many believe Donald Trump has, and some also believe Michael Cohen has. What personality type am I talking about? I'm talking about narcissism. Narcissism is going to be a recurring theme on this channel, as there are many public figures and others, and there have been some people in my personal life, friends and alleged friends, and as well as civilian members that I believe have narcissistic personality types. There are many different types of narcissism and many different manifestations of it and different categories. Many mental health professionals, including the psychologist, is a psychologist? I think he's a psychologist, not a psychiatrist, Dr. John Gardner, have very persuasively argued that Donald Trump is a malignant narcissist. A malignant narcissist is someone who has narcissistic personality disorder, usually very grandiose, displays symptoms of sadism, has some degree of paranoia as well. And without getting sidetracked into that discussion, I do have a video on the channel where I looked at the DSM definition of narcissistic personality disorder, and raised the question of how many of those personality traits that Donald Trump may have. Now, I've read part of one of the books by Michael Cohen. I kind of lost interest in it and didn't read the rest of it, but even some of what was described there and some of what we know about Michael Cohen, his behavior patterns, not just working on behalf of Donald Trump, but even some of his own behaviors. I think he does show some degree of grandiosity, some self-centeredness, some degree of self-promotion in a possibly narcissistic way. Again, I can't diagnose it. I can only speculate on what could be happening. As Dr. Grande would say, Dr. Todd Grande, who does a number of videos here on YouTube on his YouTube channel, I highly recommend him. He's very interesting about narcissism and other mental health issues from a scientifically informed point of view. But I believe there's probably a case to be made that Michael Cohen is probably a narcissist himself as well, given some of his behavior types. And I think there's two interesting things here. I think the reason why he's flipping again is it's been speculated by others that maybe he is trying to get back into the good graces of Donald Trump and the political movement that Donald Trump leads. Why that would be, I don't know, because he had gained somewhat of a following on the left as a never-Trumper, a former Trump supporter, and he had been, I believe, a host or a co-host of a show on the left of center Midas Touch Network. I think they believe that he had kind of flipped and maybe converted to being some kind of person on the left, or at least had some value as a Trump critic and former Trump associate. I'm not going to bash the Midas Touch Network. They do some good programming. They have a lot of audience. But this might be kind of a learning moment for them and question whether they should be so quick to put people like Michael Cohen on their network who they believe are former, and I think there will be some legitimate former Trump associates that have or will not just flip from being pro-Trump to anti-Trump, but realize it was a mistake to have supported Trump and helped create the monster that he has become politically and otherwise. So I think there's certainly some room for discussion of whether some of these networks should put their credibility and integrity at risk taking on someone like Michael Cohen. If it really is true that he's flipped, that he flipped back again, and the reasons for that, I think it might call into question what I've suspected all along, and is that Michael Cohen is not a very good character himself. I don't think his character is really good, and I think he may, a separate issue from having poor character, that he may or may not have narcissistic tendencies, but I certainly don't doubt that he might. And I think this situation, I'm sure there'll be more news coming out if he really has flipped for those reasons, probably indicates that he is kind of an opportunistic person that will go where he thinks it's going to benefit him personally, and it's less so about having any principles or integrity or believing anything, which, if you can work that long for Donald Trump and do Donald Trump's dirty work and bidding, I think this is a good case. Yeah, I know there's some good people that sold out to Donald Trump and sacrificed their careers. People like Rudy Giuliani and others who just totally, I guess the word people use today, cucked to Donald Trump. And, they are, if you want to use that term, cucks, they are not very good people and don't have very high character. If you could sell out and just totally compromise yourself and totally sell out your integrity and your character in service to a complete schmuck and scumbag like Donald Trump. So I think these kinds of cases certainly raise questions about whether or not someone like that is displaying good character, and separate from that, and is whether or not some of these people are narcissists, and it's good to raise that question. And I think all of us should be more aware of narcissism, because we are going to encounter narcissists. Many of us probably have, and some of us have probably been on the wrong end of the toxic behavior and dangerous behavior in many cases of various types of narcissistic personalities. So I think those are issues that all of us need to be more aware of, and more aware of basically being on guard to protect ourselves from possibly becoming a victim of a toxic narcissistic person, whether that happens to be someone in our family or someone that we believe is a friend or a co-worker at the workplace or job, or anyone else that we would come into contact with and basically have to deal with in our real lives. The narcissism is a very toxic personality type, and it leads to some very unethical, wrong, and in some cases criminal behavior by those who are narcissists. And especially when someone is an attorney and does unethical and probably allegedly, I don't know that he was convicted of whatever the charge was, and I'm not going to accuse Michael Cohen of being a criminal or having committed crimes, but certainly that can happen with people of this personality type, or certainly toxic individuals that get corrupted by working for someone who is obviously a career criminal like Donald Trump. So that's my commentary about this situation. I appreciate you spending some of your time and listen to what I had to say, and please like and subscribe and do the YouTube stuff, and ring the bell for further updates and alerts on videos. And I hope this video was beneficial to you, and I hope it finds you living your best life and enjoying life and being happy and successful in what you aim to do. And I appreciate you taking some time out to watch the video, and please continue to watch more videos, and I hope to bring more interesting content to this YouTube channel. Thank you.